Would you like to know how to position yourself as an authority on social media? Our guest today has a passion for helping people master the online marketing world and, more specifically, how to master the power of LinkedIn for business. When we come back, we'll be talking to Derick Mildred about how you can use LinkedIn strategically to build and to grow your business. And welcome back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the conversation with Brigetti Limbanda. Today's stream is made possible by StreamYard and BeLive Media, helping you elevate your brand with live video. To know when we go live, please follow our Facebook page so that you get the notification. And over on YouTube, please click on the subscribe and the notification bell. We're talking to Derick Mildred. He has over 20 years experience as a business coach and consultant. His company Results Formula helps people like you and I learn how to use LinkedIn strategically to grow your business. If you're joining us live or if you'll be catching this show on demand, please give us your elevator pitch in the comments and tell us what aspect of your profile you think needs some work. And with that, let's give a hearty, warm welcome to Derick. Derick, welcome to the show.
Hello, Brigetti. Thank you kindly. It's a pleasure to be here.
So great to have you on today. I'm going to jump right into our conversation and ask you to tell us a little bit about your journey with LinkedIn and why you believe people should be paying attention to their profiles.
Okay. Well, I guess the best place to start is actually how long ago when I originally got started with LinkedIn. And the answer to that comment is way back in 2004 was when I first officially opened up my account on LinkedIn. However, admittedly, I did very little with it until 2013, when a friend of mine said that she had heard LinkedIn described as the professional or business version of Facebook. So I thought, that sounds interesting. That raised my ears. Maybe I should have another look at this particular platform. So I managed to find my old original login details and logged into my account for the first time in many years to discover that I had a lowly 207 connections. And
Wow.
This was back in 2013, and things have grown since then. And basically, that's probably where my real journey on LinkedIn got started. So why should people be sitting up and taking notice of LinkedIn? It's really simple. As my friend described, or said she'd heard it described as the professional or business version of Facebook, that's exactly what it is. I like to describe LinkedIn as being the world's largest database of businesses, their owners, and their employees. And when you think about it, that's very much what it is. It has its social media side, which is the news feed, and it has your profile. Okay. And so when people want to know more about you, when they want to know more about the products or the services that you offer, the business that you're in, where are they going to go? To your profile. So the question then becomes, when they look at your profile, what are they going to see about you that's going to hopefully entice them to want to read further, to want to know more about you, and ultimately to want to reach out and get in touch, that message in your inbox, that email, or even the phone call, so that they can ask more about your services and your business, your products, etc., and how you can possibly help them. So your LinkedIn profile is vital towards that. And it's a great part of the platform that you can customize to almost any extent, so that it presents you and your business in a very strong way strategically towards your target audience.
That is totally on point, because a lot of people simply think that it's slapping things together and just seeing what sticks or what'll work. Now, Brenda Meller of Meller Marketing and the author of the Social Media Pie, How to Enjoy a Bigger Slice of the LinkedIn Pie, compiles a list of what she calls LinkedIn rock stars. And she ranked you third. So
Yes.
first of all, congratulations on that. But I want to ask you, can you walk us through how you achieved that status? Because that surely was not by accident, right?
Oh, I wish it was. No. First of all, it's a list of LinkedIn rock stars, LinkedIn trainers who are considered or described as rock stars. And there's approximately 75 people on the list. And you have to be nominated by another trainer to actually get onto that list. And she's got to approve.
So there's already a pre-qualifier there. It's like
Oh, yes.
It's not a random draw out of the hat.
No. You have to be nominated by another trainer to get onto the list, and then Brenda has to, or will actually have a look at your profile. She'll have a look at your content, any websites that you might have, etc., and then she will make the decision ultimately if you make it to the list or not. I was nominated for the list a little over 12 months ago, and was absolutely delighted to be accepted. And for most of last year, I hovered around the mid-20s, and there's a couple of different rankings on the list, but one of them is the growth in your profile. Okay. And so lots of people have different numbers of connections, different numbers of followers. And so what Brenda has done very cleverly is she actually ranks people based on the percentage increase in growth for their profile, in their followers, their connections, etc.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So if I'm competing against somebody with 5,000 connections and I've got 25,000 connections, then to get a 2% increase in or growth in my followers, then I've got to add a much larger number than what the person who's got 5,000 connections. So it all adds up. And for, as I said, most of last year, I was around the mid-20s mark or the 30s mark. And then November, I think it was, my numbers went up and I managed to get a number 12 ranking. And I thought to myself, okay, I'll see what I can do to crank things up even further, just to see if I can get in the top 10. That was my goal, is to try and get into the top 10. And so I made some adjustments. I made some changes to my strategy and basically worked what I knew would deliver some good results, and hoping to get into the top 10. And then when she came out with the list at the end of December, I was delighted. I was absolutely really surprised to get a top 3 ranking. So I was quite humbled by that, actually.
That is absolutely amazing. And thanks for talking us through how that process works. So everything that I'm hearing from you so far is that it's totally by design. You cannot just simply throw stuff together on your LinkedIn profile and hope for the best.
No, There's a lot more to it. Basically, the way that I look at my profile and the profiles for my clients and the people that I coach, etc., is along the lines of number one, communicating to the audience about what's in it for them. Okay, so one of the things that I don't like to see on a profile, and I don't recommend, is too many sentences starting with the word I, especially in your about section and in your experience section. I like to see a lot more you type conversation. And when you think about
and
it,
there's a psychology about behind that, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. When you think about it from the point of view of your audience, the viewer, the reader of your profile, and what your objective is for them. Okay, so what do they want to read about? What do they want to read about? What's in it for them, or do they want to read all about you? They want to read about what's in it for them. Okay, so that becomes the WIFT formula. What's in it for them? And so that's how I structure a profile. It's also how I structure content. And so there's lots of different types of content out there, but the bottom line with content to entice the audience to want to read further is, again, what's in it for them, to add value. And that's really important. So instead of trying to sell people, remove the selling. It's too early in the conversation, and just add value to build and nurture that relationship with the particular audience.
So that kind of feeds right into the next question I had for you that I think the audience can benefit from. Is could you share some golden rules and strategies that one could use to increase your connections, beyond just increasing connections, but also build relationships with people, because there is a right and a wrong way to connect?
Yep, absolutely. First of all, with LinkedIn, connecting with people, you're allowed up to 30,000 connections in total. Okay, you can have as many followers as you like. In fact, I'm connected to influencers who have 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers, etc. But your first level connections, you're limited to 30,000 of them, and that might sound like an awful lot, and in many ways it is. But if you really want to play it smart, it's a good idea to be strategic with that and to try and connect with people who are part of your target audience. Because these days we live in an international world. We can get on a Zoom call to a prospect or a client overseas in another country very quickly, very easy. So number one, be a little bit strategic, connect with people who are a match for your target audience or your target market, people you would like or prefer to do business with. Number two, when you do connect with them, don't just click on the connect button. You've got the ability to send them a personalized request to connect message. You're allowed up to 300 characters. So I highly recommend that you do that. Send them a personalized request to connect. And in that message, have a look at their profile first. Try to look for some mutual areas of interest. And if you can, mention just one or two mutual areas of interest in that personalized request to connect message to send them initially. And it just shows that you've gone to a little bit of effort, and you've also showing some interest in them, and you're giving them more of a reason to accept your request to connect. So that would be the second point. The third point would be, LinkedIn is a tool that you can use to get a conversation started. Okay. And so what one means by that is it's a tool that you use to establish, build, and nurture the relationship, so that ultimately you can take that conversation to the next level, which is away from LinkedIn. It can be a Skype call or a Zoom call, a phone call, a face-to-face meeting, an invitation to an event. So you don't actually sell on LinkedIn. Instead, you establish, build, and nurture that relationship so you can take the conversation to the next level away from LinkedIn. And that's where you start talking about your pricing, the services that you offer, the benefits to them, etc. The reason that you don't sell on LinkedIn is quite simple. It's too early in the conversation. Okay, we all know what it's like when we get that sales pitch in our inbox. Most of us cannot run away from it fast enough. Okay, and so instead, establish, build, and nurture that relationship. Take the conversation to the next level.
That's a very, very interesting formula, and I think a mistake that a lot of people make when they're making connections on LinkedIn. So, how then does one, talking about connections, how does one handle connection requests from people? Should that be a strategic move as well?
Yes,
In other
absolutely.
words, do you just accept connections randomly? Is there a formula to it?
I don't accept everybody's request to connect, and because I'm right now I'm at 33,500 followers thereabouts. So I'm running out of actual first level connections, and so I'm very strategic in who I connect with, and they need to meet my target market or target audience requirements. Okay, so I will not connect with just anybody or everybody.
So did that happen at some point? In other words, did you reach X amount of people and then decide to be more strategic about who you accept, or was that a strategic move in your journey towards building an audience?
That's an interesting question. I do know people who are interested in just building up their numbers. Okay, and so they will connect with everybody and anybody until they get to that 30,000, and then all they're interested in doing is building up their followers. And it's each to their own. That's okay if that works for them. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. Myself personally, I was strategic from a very early stage, and so I mainly only wanted to connect with people who were a match for my target audience, my target market.
So it's strictly about carving out your connections of a potential target market.
Yeah,
And what I'm reading between the lines is that you're not necessarily going to be connecting to people that's in your niche because they would be your opposition, or is there kind of a mix between who you would
uh,
choose to connect with?
target audience, target market, niche. That's okay. Connect with all of the above. Interestingly enough, I am actually connected with some of my competitors. Okay, I have a LinkedIn course that I'm about to launch. I reached out to a lady in the US 4 years ago, I would say it is now, 3 or 4 years ago. And she does profiles for people. She does LinkedIn coaching. And I said in the first message, I think that I said to her after we actually connected, I said, look, technically we're competitors, but I'd love to talk to you further. And we've actually become great friends. And she's wanted to build her own course, but she literally has not had the time because there's a lot of work involved. So she actually promotes my course, and we've become great friends. So even though we're technically competitors, there can be an overall benefit there. And I have other people who are also competitors to me who I'm also connected to, because the interesting thing is, because we live in an international world, there's enough business out there to go around and a whole lot more. And what might be a target audience for a potential competitor overseas might be a completely different target audience to who I want to work with or who I might be targeting. So there's enough business to go around, but also you can learn some amazing things by becoming friends with your competitors. Because the interesting thing about the LinkedIn community, and that's what it is, it's an actual community, is there's a lot of people on there who are very willing to help. Okay, it's a very genuine community of amazing people who will help you. And so if you need to know the question to a particular challenge that you might be facing, put up a post and ask the question, and you'll be surprised at the answers you get. So this old adage of competing with your competitors and not letting them get to know you, and having that wall up between you as such, I think LinkedIn's actually knocking that down as such. And for me, it's worked extremely well to actually be in touch with my competitors, and I've learned some amazing things from them.
I think, you know, what one learns from this is that there's enough to go around, as you said, and as Brenda says, there's enough of the pie. You know, there's enough slices of the pie to go around. But I
Yeah.
think what, you know, something that I personally also would like to stress from that, and I see the same in the live streaming community. You know, I always use the analogy of someone that is entering the profession as a hairdresser, for example. You know, people may say, well, I'm not going to become a hairdresser because there's enough hairdressers. That sort of analogy just doesn't wash, because
No.
people will go after someone that they connect with.
Hmm.
And there's enough business to go around. And so from that perspective, one should never feel threatened to connect with people that do business. And I mean, you've just nailed it there. That is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how people carve their introduction to their LinkedIn profile, and why that's important.
Okay, so when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, when you send them that request to connect message, look at it along the lines of, okay, I've just sent a message to somebody. They're going to have a look at my profile. So what are they going to see when they look at my profile? What are they going to see that's going to make them want to accept that request to connect and okay it? Okay. So number one, your banner image, your header image up the top of your profile. You can use a platform such as canva.com, which many people know. There's another platform called snapper.com to design yourself a really nice looking, attractive, eye-catching and appealing banner image. Okay. Ultimately, your banner image, it's a great idea to have a key benefit statement aimed towards your target audience within that banner image. And the dimensions are 1584 by 396 pixels for your banner image. And those two platforms, Canva and Snapper, are great platforms to use to build an image for your LinkedIn profile. The second thing is to have a nice face pic. Okay, and face pics are a little bit of a challenge. I talk to people about their profiles every week. I see some great looking face pics, I see some terrible looking face pics, and I see almost everything in between. And coming from my point of view, it's a bit of a challenge to tell somebody you've got a terrible face pic, you need to put in a better one. Thank God there's a website called photofeeler.com. And this is a great website, I love it, where you can literally upload your face pic if you're struggling to figure out which is the best face pic for you to use. And many people have been in that situation. You literally upload your face pic to PhotoFeeler, and members of the public will actually vote on it, and they'll give you some feedback on it. They will literally tell you how likable you appear, how trustworthy you look, how influential you appear. And that's great feedback when you're trying to figure out, is that the best face pic for you to use? Ultimately, your face pic should have a clear, white, non-distracting background and be basically from the chest up or the waist up. So it's reasonably close up and gives people a nice impression of you when they first look at your LinkedIn profile. And then the other thing too is an attractive headline that also has a key benefit statement aimed towards your audience. What's in it for them? Why should they talk to you further? And then the rest of your profile ultimately should be completed to the level of all-star. So a completed about section, you're allowed up to 2,400 characters. So I highly recommend that you use as many of those as possible. And a complete experience section, in the experience section, you're allowed up to 2,000 characters. So highly recommend, again, you use as many of those as possible. And at the base of your experience section, you can add media, and media just adds to your profile and makes it a lot more interesting to the viewer or reader. That media can be videos, but it can also be PDFs, could be case studies, PowerPoints, etc., or images such as certificates or photos of milestones that you've achieved or something like that. And then also there's a featured section between your about and experience section. And in that featured section, you can have links to websites, your Calendly link so people can book appointments with you. You can have social proof such as video testimonials, etc. So these are just some of the things that you should have in your LinkedIn profile, or it's a great idea to have in your LinkedIn profile, that just makes it stand out and be much more interesting to the viewer or reader of your profile.
That is an awesome way, or that I think there's a lot of value in what you just said to help people get started with doing an overall of their LinkedIn profile. So tell me a little bit about your company, the results formula.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you can do for people on LinkedIn who want to revamp their profile and make it more strategic and valuable? How do they connect with you, and what can they expect from having this engagement with you?
Okay, so first of all, if you'd like to connect with me, reach out to me via LinkedIn, send me a personalized request to connect via LinkedIn, and mention this video and mention Bridgety. That way I know where you've got the information from, and I'll be much more available to accept your request to connect. And then I can do a coaching call with you to one-on-one show you exactly the steps to take to improve your profile. So quite happy to offer that. Results Formula is one of my businesses where I provide LinkedIn coaching, consulting, training. It's also the website for my LinkedIn course, which is a course for people looking to generate business with LinkedIn. And that course is called Linked into More Business, which will be released very shortly. It's literally taken me just over 2 years to build, and I'm very excited about that.
So tell us a little bit more about Linked into Business. I mean, that's a very, I'm guessing that you were very strategic about choosing that name as well.
Yes, Linked into More Business, it's called. And basically it took me a while to come up with the name for the course, but the way that the course eventuated, like many people getting started with LinkedIn, I went through some frustrations trying to figure out the things that worked and the things that didn't work. A lot of it was by trial and error. And I came to realize that there's got to be a lot of people going through the same experiences as what I did. And there's not many how-to guides out there around LinkedIn that you can actually go to and figure out, okay, this is what I need to do next. And so I got out a pad of paper and I wrote down a list. And that list was, if I was to buy the world's best LinkedIn course for business, what would I want in that course? Okay. And so I started writing down a list of all the topics, all the subjects, all the chapters, or the things that I would want to be trained on or learn in that particular kind of course. Okay. That list became my things to do list for my course. Okay. And then I literally spent the better part of 2 years, or just over 2 years, building the course, because as I was building the course, more content came to mind, and so I started adding to the course further and further. Right now the course has 60 chapters originally, and then I've also recently added the 30 tips in 30 days, of which there are 40 of. So there's just over 100 videos inside the course right now. So it's very comprehensive.
Wow. How long is the course?
The course is spread out over 5 days, okay, and you can go through it. It's also a resource, okay, so it's not only a LinkedIn course, it's a resource. So if, for example, the course will show you exactly how to set up your profile, how to optimize your profile, how to communicate with people, the actual messages to use, and also things like happy birthday messages or anniversary messages, the really good tested and proven messages to send out for work anniversaries, etc., happy birthday messages, etc. And then importantly, how to connect with people and build those relationships so that you can turn a connection into a prospect for your particular business. And so it's basically a 5-day course. You can literally knock over the course by spending an hour, maybe an hour and a half on it, 2 hours at most each day over 5 days. And then, as I said, it's a resource. So if you want to know how to contact service and support with LinkedIn, there's a module, there's a chapter in the course that shows you exactly how to contact service and support. If you want to know how to deal with trolls, and unfortunately, just like other forms of social media, LinkedIn has them. So there's a chapter on how to deal with trolls, idiots, and tire kickers, I call them. So there's basically a lot of stuff in there that shows you exactly what to do and basically manage your ongoing use of LinkedIn.
Derrick, that is awesome. There's just so much value in what you've shared with our audience today, and I cannot thank you enough. And so for those of you who are watching us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and you know, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're catching this on the on demand, then also let us know in the comments. And if you have any questions for Derrick, please do mention that you've watched the show, as he said, and then reach out to him. He'll be delighted to assist you. Derrick, thank you so much. Thank you for all the knowledge you shared with us today. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure, Bridget. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you kindly.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day further, and we'll see you back soon again on The Conversation with Bridgetti.